Hi, I'm Kaz Pearman from What's New in Electronics. I'm at Electronica 2022 and I'm joined today by Sailesh from Renesas.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure to have you here today. So how's the show been going for you?
It's been great.
Yeah.
We've had quite a turnout at our booth and a lot of exciting new products to talk about actually. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity if you haven't already visited the booth to do so.
So in terms of obviously the past 4 years not being able to be at a space like this, is there anything you want to share with us today in terms of product launches?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had, there's a lot of changes that have happened in the last 2 years, some driven by COVID, some driven by other factors. And especially because of COVID, one of the things that's happened more broadly is people have switched much more to voice-based interfaces as opposed to touch screen kind of situations. And also simultaneously, I think at the same time, one of the things that's taking an increased dominance in the world today is the role of artificial intelligence, especially at the edge or the endpoint, whether it be your smartphone or IoT connected devices. There's a tremendous amount of growth potential, and it's being driven by convergence of three major factors. First and foremost, the introduction of IoT, which is the all-encompassing term, obviously, for Internet of Things. And in addition, the prevalence of artificial intelligence, which gives the brain to devices at the endpoint, much as your smartphone's gotten smart over the years. And in addition, the 5G technology. So all three are sort of a confluence of factors that are influencing how the industry is going to shape, not necessarily this year, but also for the next several decades to come.
Exciting time. So that evolution, which has almost come out of something that's really quite troublesome as from a global perspective for COVID for all of us.
Exactly.
But actually turning it on this flip,
into positive.
Flip side.
Absolutely, into positive. And I think you can see by the attendance here today as well that the turnout at this event, which is the first time in the last 2 years it's been held, has been phenomenal. And I think one of the things that people are anxious to display, whether it's Renesas or whoever, is the products that have been launched in the last 2 years, because people haven't, even though they haven't been meeting, it's really, the innovation hasn't stopped, if you will, the innovation engine.
So where do you see this going? I mean, from a perspective in terms of education, in terms of voice recognition, I mean, there's the endless options, isn't there?
Yeah,
really,
of course.
In terms of where you could be marketing this and who you could be speaking to.
Absolutely, and I think there's a few markets where this will gravitate towards more in the future. One is certainly the market when it comes to home automation, whether it comes to, and by home automation I think when you talk to Siri or when you talk to Alexa, that's one level of home automation. The other thing is when your refrigerators and your dishwashers become more intelligent, that's a whole another level of intelligence that comes into the picture. And beyond that, the industrial market is also changing quite dramatically, whether it's the ability to sense when a machine's going to break down, which is broadly falls into the category of predictive maintenance, becomes far more important. And then the automotive world is also transforming itself fairly significantly in this period of time as the move to electrification and sustainability gains more importance. And sustainability is becoming far more important across the entire landscape, including industrial applications, automotive applications, or even simply IoT devices.
So in terms of technology, which is kind of growing and accelerating, do you think the industry has the capability to keep up with all the supply chain issues that we've all been talking about as well? There's almost like that gap. It's kind of as you're accelerating, what's going to hopefully not hold it back.
Absolutely, and I think the demand and supply situation will rectify itself. It's already in the process of rectifying itself. And I think over the next 12 to 18 months, you're going to see pretty much a balance between supply and demand. And a large part of the challenge we faced our last 2 years was nobody predicted the sharp uptick in demand created by COVID and people staying at home and having the disposable income to do things that they didn't have before. So primarily it was driven by people that couldn't eat outside, they couldn't travel, and they couldn't do, and that led to a lot of pent-up demand. in terms of what has to happen. So that created growth. Is our innovation engine sustainable for what we need? Absolutely. I believe that's truly going to be the case.
So looking ahead for 2023,
Yeah.
what's in store? Can
It's going to
you
be
share
interesting.
any news?
Yeah, I think let me start with our products that we introduced today and kind of talk about the two things. One is certainly, as I said before, connectivity is becoming much more important, whether it be 5G or whether it be what we call the 6 edge, which is primarily four different frequency bands, three different frequency bands now. The 2.4 gigahertz, the 5 gigahertz, and the 6 gigahertz. And what that does is it allows devices to stay connected on much longer without drop-off that you'd expect. That's one announcement that we made today for devices at the endpoint or the edge to connect to the network. The other is we announced a product around cellular connectivity, which is primarily to your LTE network, how IoT devices connect. And I think we're personally very excited about those two products because if you think about the Internet of Things, it needs to be, the data that you process needs to go somewhere, right? And the way to do that is to use either Wi-Fi or some kind of 5G connection to your LTE network. And both of those offer very good possibilities for us. And for us, the connectivity is a theme that you're going to hear a lot more from Renesas. And I think we're personally excited about what we see on that front.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
My pleasure.
Great to meet
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
Yep.